What's going on YouTube? JT is Born here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about I Am Batman, issue number 15. This one is written by John Ridley, of course, and it's been quite a while since I've covered I Am Batman. I did cover the first 6 issues as like issue 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after that, I kind of just lost interest in the title. The videos weren't even doing all that well. I think a lot of people have kind of lost interest in I Am Batman. Yeah, there was some initial intrigue with Future State, but as it kind of went on, it just didn't really make sense for Jace Fox to really be Batman the same time that Bruce Wayne is around. Yeah, it can make sense in the context of Future State where a Batman is completely vanished, but given that Jace is taking up the mantle of Batman and doesn't really seem to like Batman all that much, I just don't get the reasoning behind becoming Batman. Even in this issue, they kind of address that, like he sees Sinestro comes in. I guess he was picked by Pariah to target him and that, but Sinestro's just kind of like somebody like playing with their food almost, where he's just kind of messing around with him, like kind of feeding on his fear, if that makes sense, showcasing all these weird visualizations that made him like kind of like almost like a scarecrow fear toxin, if you will, that makes people see their greatest fears and insecurities. Like Jace Fox is off kind of like seeing, oh, I think he thinks he killed someone, he thinks somebody he knows is in danger and all that, and he's kind of forced to face those fears and insecurities. And at first he's really apprehensive to want to go help the others in like Dark Crisis or whatever, but then by the end he's just like, all right, I'm gonna kind of do something because, well, I'm supposed to be Batman, but I just feel really like out of place with the rest of the DC universe, and I should probably like do what Batman does and actually go out and really kind of help people when they ask for it, instead of just being kind of a lone brooder, which you know, that's just kind of who he is. I still don't understand why he's Batman. Like, of all the things you could do, why is this character dressing up as Batman? Granted, I have stopped reading like 10 issues ago because I just wasn't really caring for the story. I didn't think it was all that good. I'm glad he got moved to New York because it didn't really make sense for him to be in Gotham. It just, like, the way it's written, it just feels like, it just felt like somebody who just didn't really like Bruce Wayne's Batman's like, I can do it better, by constantly belittling Batman and just the audience and all that, and it just didn't fit well with me, and the story itself wasn't that engaging. I just feel like the Jace Fox experiment, it's been kind of a dud. Yes, I'm somebody who dropped the book like 10 issues ago, but there's a reason for it, because I didn't think it was all that great, and I just didn't really see a reason to kind of cover it. And even with this particular issue, which is acting as a Dark Crisis tie-in, which they don't even mention on here. The only reason I remember this being a Dark Crisis tie-in is because they had that whole like thing with the here's the Dark Crisis checklist, and this is one on there. That's the only reason I'm covering this series. Otherwise, I wouldn't really have as much interest kind of even talking about it, but that's just kind of where I'm at with this thing. Yes, the book has its commentary and all that, like as expected, but it's like it doesn't lack any subtlety or nuance to it. It's just kind of really in your face with it. I still just don't understand why he's Batman in this situation when Bruce Wayne is still active as it. He has no connection with the Bat family. If you have to have any Batman, if any member of the Fox family is somebody who would make sense to become Batman in that regards, it would be Luke Fox. But with Luke Fox, at least he made his own thing with Batwing. He didn't just try and be like, I'm just gonna be Batman. Okay, just whatever. I mean, they do acknowledge that, like, hey, I'm not gonna be the last Batman. There's other people who take on the mantle in that, but still, as it stands, I just feel like if you're gonna like take on the mantle of Batman, just title your book I Am Batman. They should be somebody who kind of earns it a bit, or like at least have it make sense. I think this will work better as an Elseworld storyline as opposed to something in the main DC universe, because it feels so out of place. I don't feel like anybody really talks about this book. Yeah, they're trying to force that whole like new trinity with Jon and Yara Flor and Jace Fox, and it's just not working. It's not working for me. I don't think it's working for a lot of other people. But as it stands, the storyline with Sinestro on that, Sinestro could have taken care of him like so many times in this thing, but he just chooses not to because he's an idiot. Yeah, he's kind of being manipulated by Pariah, but he still comes across as really dumb and kind of pathetic. I mean, it feels like when you watch like a Bond movie or something where the villain has him in his grasp and just does nothing with it, and just kind of just like talks and rambles on. It's like, I'm gonna mess with you, and then he ends up getting kind of beaten. That's just kind of how I felt in this thing, and in some ways I kind of get a kick out of that. Like there's something kind of fun about those old tropey Bond movies, but here I'm just like, I just don't care. But yeah, like I said, the only reason I covered this thing was because it was a Dark Crisis tie-in, and I just don't feel like anybody talks or really acknowledges this book anymore. I feel like it's really kind of fallen off. Yeah, I guess in Future State, like, it was kind of neat to I'm not really, I can't really say much positive about Future State. I didn't care about that event, and I just wish DC would kind of move on from it. But in that context, it still makes sense why he would take up becoming Batman, because, like, there's no Batman around. But now it's just like, what's even the reasoning behind it? We're like, how far into this book, and why is he Batman? I just don't know. But at least he goes at the end of it, he's kind of like, yeah, maybe I should stop being kind of a dick and go and just kind of help the people during this Dark Crisis event. Because before, throughout it, he's just like, it's just not my problem. Oh yeah, you're Batman, and like, people are in danger, and just not your problem. Like, it just feels very un-Batman like to me. For a book titled I Am Batman, I don't really like know about that. But yeah, so there's that. But anyways, I'd say it's not really worth checking out, even as a Dark Crisis tie-in. All it really was just him, because initially he rejected Jon's offer, and now he's kind of back. So not much. Like, so once again, another Dark Crisis tie-in, which they don't mention here on the title, but like, if you look in the issue, like, it didn't even have like the whole Dark Crisis tie-in thing on the cover. That just goes to show how much DC Comics doesn't really give a shit about this book. I don't really ever see it promoted. I don't see it really talked about all that much, because it's just I feel like the Jace Fox experiment just hasn't fully worked as well as they thought it would, especially with Bruce Wayne Batman still kind of being around. So, and I say this as somebody who's also reading a book called Batgirls, where there's multiple Batgirls in it, but at least in that regards there was a connection to the Bat family, whereas with Jace there's just absolutely none. So yeah, but anyways, I'd say skip it. I don't really think there's much to it. The artwork is fine. If you're into I Am Batman, I'm curious to know your thoughts on it. Yeah, I'm sounding kind of like a negative Nancy, but that's because I dropped this book a long time ago, and the only reason I was doing it is because I made a mission to cover every Dark Crisis tie-in thing. Is this the worst Dark Crisis tie-in? No, it's definitely not as bad as like the Young Justice book, which feels like something where the writer just hates the reader with a passion, and it just feels like that's a very cynical written book. This one at least is kind of off really in its own thing, and really should just be an Elseworld storyline, and it would make more sense why he's Batman then. I know I've said that like 100 times in this video, I'm sure, and you're getting sick of it, but those are my quick thoughts, and I'm just kind of over this book. I don't really plan on covering it unless there's some other like big event tie-in in the near future. So if you're enjoying it, good for you. If not, then welcome to the club. But I just didn't quite care for it, all things considered. So yeah, not much else to say there. I think I've said enough. Dark Crisis is almost over. It's been kind of underwhelming as an event, to say the least. The stuff I liked the most was probably the Flash book tie-ins, and this is the only tie-ins that have been anything meaningful. The Dark Crisis event itself could be so much better, but it feels like an afterthought given the rest of DC Comics as a whole, even setting up the next event after the next event. Like, can we just take a break from events after Lazarus Planet? Like, just a long hiatus from them, and just not have any for like an entire year. Maybe a few crossover titles like here and there, but I just want some to just kind of focus on, you know, just solo titles for a while. But yeah, all right, that's enough. I've talked enough about this issue and Dark Crisis as a whole, so I'm gonna let you all go, and come back tomorrow. I'll be talking about Batman Urban Legends. I think there's only like 2 issues left of that book, and then I've covered every issue of it, so look forward to all that stuff. And yeah, all right, well, that's all Sean has to say. As always, take care now, bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.